Well, hello. I'm Matt Williamson at Williamson FL. You probably know that by now, but we are getting new people all the time, especially with the draft 1 week away. You are listening to this on Thursday, 1 week exactly before the draft, and I'm recording it on Wednesday, 1 week before draft day eve. And I'm ready, man. I am ready. So I decided to do a mailbag. We'll do one more this week after that. As always, it's hard to go through your guys' questions because there's so many and they're so good. But Marco A. Romero Navarro asks, what kind of draft compensation would be fair for the Steelers to trade out of the first round with the Browns or Giants? Swap of 2026 first rounders sounds too crazy. Would assume those teams remain bad in 2025. That's interesting. I've never seen teams do that, though. I mean, I'll give you my 2026 for your 2026 because I'm betting I'm way better than you and you guys stink. It's not really how the league works, but it is an interesting piece of advice, little nugget there. And maybe you could convince the Browns to do that. I mean, I don't think you can convince the Giants to do it. Those head-to-head matchups against Cleveland would be even more on the line during the season. Pretty cool. But okay, let's say you go from, I don't have the trade value chart in front of me or anything like that. But if I'm going from 21 to early second round with the Giants or Browns, I definitely want their early third, but that's not enough. Maybe a future second on top of that. Maybe I'm asking a little much. I might have to throw them a fifth or something back. That's pretty nice. I mean, I don't think you're going to coax. Well, probably not. I mean, boy, would it be nice to land the Browns or Giants first round pick a year from now. Would you do that? I mean, let me throw that out to you. Would you go from 21 to 34 or whatever, and all you get in return is next year's first? Probably would. I don't know that they would, but they might for a quarterback. Now, why I'm throwing this out there and asking so much is it's commonly known in the league, you pay a little more. You pay a quarterback tax to move up for a quarterback. I always found that kind of odd. I mean, isn't 34 worth the same and 21 worth the same no matter what? But if it's quarterback, you get more. I mean, that's obviously more true with the first overall pick or very early in the draft. But the trade value chart spikes up a little bit. There's 10%, 20% tax on it for quarterbacks. But I bet in the end, you could turn, if they're interested, you could turn 21 into 33, 34, something like that. 64-ish, which is an early 3. So you would end up in this draft with an early 2, an early 3, and your regular third. It's pretty nice. And definitely a future pick. I would hope a second. And maybe you sprinkle something back at them. That sounds pretty good to me. I mean, it really does. I mean, maybe you miss out. I mean, maybe you take Milroe there. Or, you know what I mean? You guys know I love Milroe. But early second round might not be that much different than the 21st pick. And you pick up another one this year. You give all kinds of trade power if you want to move up throughout the draft. You've got a ton of picks for next year. You'd have multiple 2s, multiple 3s, multiple 4s after the comp game. I would be highly interested in that and probably more likely to do it with the Giants than a division rival. So good stuff there. Certainly something to consider. And hey, I mean, why would you not? Bobby Paul asks, any pros or cons to drafting 2 defensive tackles that were college teammates, thinking Harmon or Caldwell or Collins and Broughton? I think it's a great thing. I joke on the air all the time. Hey, they can room together at training camp. And I kind of mean it. You know, I mean, like, yeah, that's funny, blah, blah, blah. But I'm moving from Oregon or Texas to Pittsburgh where I've never been. And I'm at this frankly, strange little college in St. Vincent's and doing things the Steeler way. And it doesn't matter where you go, but adapting to the new city, new league, new money, new apartment, house, whatever, isn't easy to do for young men or anyone, even if I was 50. So having a buddy, not only from the same team, but in the same position meeting room, is a massive benefit to me. You sit there and you compare notes in your dorm room at night going, yeah, at Oregon, we called this, but they're calling it this, but it's exactly the same. Oh, nice tip. Thanks, Caldwell. I didn't look at it that way. You're welcome, Harmon. Yeah. And again, frankly, I think they should draft 2 defensive tackles. Not have to, but it would be nice to. And if they're both from the same school, I don't see any negatives at all, unless they hate each other. Unless there's some reason that these two have some kind of personality conflict and can't wait to get away from each other, and then they get drafted by the same team. Oh, damn, But no, I think it's a great advantage. Even if they don't play the same position, I think it's an advantage. Like, man, this town's a lot different than Austin, Texas, or San Jose State. Boy, how are you adjusting or whatever? Yeah, I think that's great. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for betting on all the madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to a $200,000 bracket contest, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline is you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. My man, Joey Bag of Donuts. If Ciamalu's plays dropped off so much, is he a cut candidate? I hadn't thought of that. I thought of him more as a potential trade candidate, because I do think that someone in the league would give you a 7th or 6th round pick for him. I don't think his last year tape is the point where he's not an NFL player and somebody could use a guard. But I see what you're saying. I don't think they need the money. I also think that he is very much a leader. He's kind of a quiet leader, but is clearly the leader of that offensive line room that's very young. And more so than some organizations, they value that. Like if you ever go to training camp, he's the one after that's kind of acting as the pseudo O-line coach, going through drills or holding the bag or instructing some of these young dudes, especially last year with so many rookies. So I'd be shocked, and I can't imagine a scenario where they get so cash strapped because they have so much money right now that the cap savings would be worth it. But maybe a trade. We didn't mention this because it's small potatoes, but it is relevant. They did sign Max Sharping in the last 2 days, which I always talk about 11. I want 11 NFL offensive linemen, really for 9 spots. I think he's probably one of that 11, so I think you get one player closer. If he doesn't make the team, I'll survive, don't get me wrong. But it's an interesting thing to contemplate. I'll kick it around in my noodle a little bit, but flat out being cut seems extreme to me. Brad McKinney asks, if Will Johnson, corner from Michigan, slides, would you trade up for him? I think he's a blue chip prospect that people have forgotten about after being injured last season. I would not. I can't imagine trading up for a corner. He is a good player. His tape from 2 years ago was excellent. He's got a really good mind for the game. He's got size. He's got traits. He's done really, really well against top competition. This last year was concerning, though, and I can't quite get that out of my mind, where he was a lot less interested, kind of making business decisions. Michigan wasn't in the national title, hunt anymore, in and out of the lineup. Now, I'm not saying he's selfish. A lot of these guys do the same thing, and I totally get it. And he is a massive earning asset on the planet. Now, I also think he's better. He also didn't run a 40 and has questionable speed. I don't think it's bad, but it's questionable. So I don't think he's a blue chip prospect. I don't think he's, Jalen Ramsey coming out or someone like that, Stingley. And he is best in a cover 3 off system that the Steelers used so much last year. But I think the Steelers want to get away from that. I think they want to play more man and bang you at the line of scrimmage, get your hands on him. And that's not really what he does best. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they want to just keep running cover 3 and, playing downhill and all that, and he'd be a great fit for that. But I hope that maybe it's more hope than I think they're going that way, that it's not exactly the direction I think the defense should be going. Alex Reyes asks, in previous podcasts, you told us the 21st pick would either be Harmon, Grant, or Nolan. Now, after the 30 visits and seeing only Harmon come into the building, do you still see us Grant or Nolan if Harmon is off the board? Greeting from Mexico. Love the podcast. So, over the Omar Khan era, the last 2 years, I think 9, they've had, obviously, not including this year, because draft hasn't happened. You got 30 visits last year, 30 visits the year before, under Omar. They drafted 9 of those 60 players, which is an ungodly percentage. It's a very, very high number. Does that mean that they're only going to draft from their 30 visits, though? Or I don't think so. And it is not concerning, but it's odd to me that Nolan didn't come in. By the way, Alexander did come in today, Wednesday. It's their final visit. Visits are done. That's just a league-wide rule. Visits are done now a week before going to the draft. Another D lineman from Toledo, Alexander. I don't want to look too much into that because just around the league, there's there's so many guys that are first-round picks that aren't visits. I mean, it's more common than not, to be honest. I don't think Omar's going to be, I have to get him in my building. They have great connections at Michigan. I'm sure they'll know everything about him. That's why I mentioned Nolan I'm kind of shocked he wasn't in. Maybe they're out on him, and maybe I'm just the one thinking, boy, I think he's a good fit, and they don't agree. I do like that Harmon was in, but I'm not going to look too much into that. But it is a good thought. I'll be honest with you. All right, let's end this thing. Well, maybe we'll get another one in here. My man Naz asks, who'd rather have the starting punter for this upcoming season, Corliss Waitman or Cameron Johnston? We'll talk punters a lot. But Johnston. Johnston blew me away in camp watching him practice every day. I always talked about he had every club in the bag. I mean, he could knuckle it. He had all these variety of kicks. Now, I thought Waitman was a wonderful replacement. And man, where was he during the Harvin years? So it is a question. But I think Johnston, and I am not a punter expert, never claimed to be, is a tier 1 NFL punter, unless you have some concern about lingering injury or anything like that, which I have no indication you should. I should know this off the top of my head, but will both be in camp? I don't know if Waitman's under contract or not. They always bring 2 kickers. It's almost always 1 punter, unless they're like having Harvin fight for a job whenever he was bad. Could you turn Waitman into a pick after what he did last year if both were in camp? Maybe. They're both good, though. I think they will both be two of the 32 punters in the league on opening day. But Johnston, they gave money and really, really looked good. So I think he will be the guy. And that's one more thing. It's kind of like Fautanu and Logan Lee and a lot of these guys you didn't get much of last year. Well, Johnston's another one that you counted on and you got very little from. Last one, Michael Beck asked, which running back, Dobbins, Chubb, or Edwards, sign after the comp window closes? I think they're all good names. I definitely think that they will draft one, and maybe that's enough. But if you're only drafting 4th or 5th round running back, and that's the only thing you add from now until after the draft at that position, and maybe a priority free agent, which I would love to see them spend a little bit of money on priority free agent running backs. I would love to see Dobbins or Chubb. Edwards only interests me if you draft a smaller guy. Like if you take Henderson high or Sampson, and that's all you did. I want Edwards as my goal line heavy pseudo Najee type. Now, I don't think he's particularly good, but he does that well. I mean, he's a heavy-footed banger. Put him in with a lead, wear people down, bad weather guy. Where Dobbins and Chubb, I'm hoping to get a glimpse of what they once were. Dobbins showed us that, though. Dobbins was really good with the Chargers and then got injured again. Chubb might never be the same, but you'd probably know that pretty soon. And I'm probably not interested in signing either one of those guys to a 2-year deal, and they probably aren't either. But you don't know. I don't, who knows? But I would bet Warren only has one more year with the team. 2 years from now, could you have a second-year running back that you draft here in a week, and Chubb a year removed, or Dobbins a year removed? But those are two of my favorite names that are out there that, hey, they're going to sign for more than league minimum, but not much. At this stage, you might have something, or you might not play them at all. One note, and it's minimal, but neither's going to help you on special teams. So on game day, they really have to be one of your best 2 ball carriers. But we know these guys get hurt. I mean, what if Warren gets hurt in week 1? You're going to be pretty happy if J.K. Dobbins floating around. So those are good thoughts. Those are names I have kept on the tip of my tongue, and I've mentioned them on this podcast quite a bit, all 3 of those backs. And why not? Again, I'm sure they'll draft one. I'm sure of it. But does that mean you're done? You got a lot of cap space. Throw more and more in the mix, All right, everyone. Fun stuff. We'll talk tomorrow.